Jeremiah Smith and the number one ranked Ohio State Buckeyes head out to Husky Stadium to face Denzel Boston, Devon Williams, and the Washington Huskies. Let's start with Washington because they might have one of the few players in college football that can rival Jeremiah Smith, not just in size, but athletic traits, ability, catching the football, attacking it one-on-ones. This will be a very tough day for the Buckeyes corners. Jermaine Matthews, who has been tremendous filling in as a starter for that team. Davison Igbinosun, who can be a bit handsy at times. A very tough task for them to go up against Denzel Boston, who by all accounts of everyone that analyzes the game have as being a first or a second round NFL draft pick come the draft in 2026 this April. He was on that Husky team. He was working behind Rome Odunze, behind Jalen McMillan, Jalen Polk, that high-flying offense where they went to the national championship game and got beat by the Michigan Wolverines. And Michael Penix Jr. dealing the ball. He was there. He was learning behind those wide receivers. For the Ohio State side, we know all about the talent that they possess on the outside. But what about Max Clare? His development is where our eyes need to be. Everyone can talk about number 4 and number 17. How about Max Clare, number 86? What about Bo Jackson, the surging freshman running back? No relation to Bo Jackson, one of the all-time great athletes. But Bo Jackson has turned into what many Buckeye fans think is the number 1 running back of the future. He has shown that he is explosive, he can break tackles, that he has home run hitter ability, being able to hit the hole, and not just hit the hole, but break down guys in the process of getting into the open field and running out for big chunks of yardage. Washington Huskies, they have a very similar type caliber guy to that. Jonah Coleman has arguably been the best running back in college football. We were looking for a guy to replace the production of Ashton Jeanty. You're not going to quite get that when you start Big Ten play, but Jonah Coleman, a phenomenal start to the season. We're really interested in not just his ability against that Buckeye front, running on Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, Caden McDonald, Arvell Reese and Styles in the middle of that defense for the Buckeyes. How will they utilize Coleman and getting him the football, not just out of the backfield, but utilizing him in the pass game? He comes into this game with only a couple of catches. That's not a huge part of his game, but can they use him out of the backfield? You think about that Texas game for Ohio State in the semifinal. That was the last time they really got gashed by the running back out of the backfield. Do the Huskies try and dial something like that up? Again, though, Matt Patricia's defense and the way he's been calling plays has been a little bit dissimilar. It's looked a lot more like the Buckeyes defense in the college football playoff, where you see Caleb Downs playing every single position on the football field, and he's absolutely going to be an X factor every single game. And it's not just him, because a key player on the other side, not just the quarterback for the Huskies, but Devon Williams' ability to run the football. There are few across the country that possess the speed that he has to be able to turn the corner, to threaten you every time he has the football in his hands. He presents a lot of challenges for the Buckeyes, who in their last game saw a mobile quarterback in Parker Navarro. He was struggling with a little bit of an injury. But if you go back and watch that tape, there are very few people that can turn a corner on Caleb Downs. If you go back and watch that game, this is a similar type of guy, Devon Williams, who possesses the type of athletic ability to do that. But it's not just Caleb Downs. Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese have people saying these could be first-round pick linebackers. Arvell Reese is one of the biggest names that not a lot of people that are familiar with the Buckeyes know about. Number 8 in the middle of that defense, replacing the production of Cody Simon, losing him the 4th-round pick to the Arizona Cardinals. Him in the middle of that defense with Sonny Styles, who's been familiar, a guy with 100 tackles a year ago. Styles with 6 sacks. Arvell Reese roaming the middle of the field. Him, Styles, Downs presents a type of athletic profile of defensive players and capability that, frankly, I don't know if Devon Williams has ever seen and will see in a game after this one than he plays on Saturday. I mean, the way that these guys move around and they're able to come up on the edge. Arvell Reese can come up, play that edge rusher role. That's why he's gotten some similarities to Abdul Carter. It will be very important for Damon to know where all of these guys are on the field at all times. In particular, number 2, Caleb Downs, who I think is the best defensive player in the country. You probably, if you follow the sport, think he's the best defensive player in the country. You have to know where number 2 is at all times, but I'm just going to let you know, number 8 roaming around is another big factor. Now for the Ohio State offense and what Washington will try to do to limit the Buckeyes' first-year starter, Julian Sayin, the freshman quarterback. It's important to get him off of his spot, to make him uncomfortable. If you're not getting pressure on Julian Sayin, you can forget about it, because this offense is more explosive than last year. If you're a Buckeye fan, you might be saying, what? We had Quinshon Judkins, Henderson out of the backfield. We had Tate, Abuka, and JJ. Now, you have to hold on a second, because Brian Hartline knows these groups of wide receivers, these guys, Tate and Brandon Inniss and Jeremiah Smith, better than anyone. You can already feel that this team is attacking down the field vertically more than it was a season ago. You saw the post route to Jeremiah Smith for the touchdown. You saw the beautiful ball where Julian Sayin hit Carnell Tate against Texas. Does the exact same thing in the game against Ohio. They are stretching the ball down the field, and you will be, I think, flat out wrong if you don't think they're going to try and do the same thing against Washington. So what can you do for against Washington? Well, you might not have the athletes that Texas does with a Michael Taft in the back end and Colin Simmons, Trey Moore, the great edge players to get pressure on Sayin, but you need to find a way to put 5, 6 guys at the line of scrimmage and play in that too high shell. I think that you have to do what Michigan did, what Nebraska did, teams that were able to limit the Buckeyes, run the ball, play 2 high safeties, and almost dare them to run the football, because it's a choice. And you're playing this chess match, you can't have it where, oh, we can try and stop the run and have, we're playing only 1 deep safety, bring an extra guy into the box. Well, guess what? You've got Tate on an island, and you got Jeremiah Smith on an island, and you got them in a one-on-one coverage without any safety help, because yes, you will need to have that safety in the deep middle of the field with Max Clare running through there, with Brandon Inniss running through there. Buckeye fans are saying, what about Bryson Rodgers and Mylan Graham? When will we see these guys? They're saying Brandon Inniss, we haven't seen it yet. I'm happy to yank him, the more veteran player, for these younger guys, get him to see on the field. This is becoming a more of a prevalent topic in the message boards for the Buckeyes. I can understand it. They're a little bit frustrated, but we still have to wait and see. Washington needs to do that. I believe that their choice will be. I believe that their head coach is going to make that decision, that Fish is going to decide, yes, we're going to play too high, make the Ohio State Buckeyes beat us on the ground, run the football 40 times. What does that do? It limits the amount of possessions that they will have. It increases the amount of possessions that we might be able to have, because we might be having more clock run off of the ultimate time on the scoreboard, right? They're not going to have as much time. They're running the football more, less completions, and Ohio State, they have to rely on that run game in order to move the ball. Now, Brian Hartline can understand. He will look for his one-on-ones. He will look to push the football down the field every single chance that he has in this game. And why I have a heavy lean towards Ohio State winning is the dynamic threats and what they have. Julian Sayin has looked great. The completion percentage is there. One of my favorite plays in their game earlier in the season, right, when they had a really important matchup against Texas, was his play to Carnell Tate. Just rolling to the right side. It was a 3rd down. Buckeyes deep in their own territory. He finds Carnell Tate rolling out. Last week, we saw him find wide receiver in the end zone for a touchdown. I believe it was Max Clare rolling to his right side on the run. We get to see some mobility. Him being accurate on the move. It's not just a guy that can throw from the pocket, but also outside of it when he is uncomfortable off of his spot. He can still find guys and throw the football accurately. You are seeing a ton of positive traits from the young quarterback, and you continue to see the progression week to week to week, to the point where you have a lot of confidence for him heading into a road game. Now, Husky Stadium is one of the loudest environments in college football, in that perfect atmosphere and the location of the stadium right there on the water, people tailgating on boats. You can expect that this place will be loud and raucous for this, 12:30 on the West Coast kickoff for this game. Everyone is beyond fired up for this for Washington. They're 3-0 right now, and you got the number 1 seed, the defending national champs, heading into your building. Can imagine they are excited. I am going to lean on the Ohio State Buckeyes winning this game because of their trench play. The trench play has been good. They had to replace a number of guys. Tyleik Williams, Ty Hamilton in the middle, Tuimoloau and Sawyer all gone, but replaced with McDonald, with Edric Houston in the middle. Caden Curry's been good, but it's not just the starters, it's the rotational players. It's Bo Atkinson coming in, it's CJ Hicks. The amount of rotational guys that they have keeps them fresh, and where I see the Buckeyes having a really good lean for this one, right? There's no Braylon Trice, there's no Roger Rosengarten for Washington anymore. A couple of those really great players they had a few seasons ago. Just seems that the talent disparity is wider than it might have been if these teams had played back in 2023, which could have been a really fun matchup. But the Buckeyes, then again, on offense, some of the best wideouts in the country. And Denzel Boston, it's interesting. Will Matt Patricia decide to leave Boston on one-on-ones, trusting the young starter and Jermaine Matthews, trusting Igbinosun on the one-on-ones? I think we'll see that early, but if we start seeing a result similar to Oregon, where it just seemed like they were getting burnt, we might see them really start to rotate. Jalen McLean's been good on the back end, and putting a tarp over that defense, not allowing the deep ball, make Jamal Williams have to dink and dunk, move the football down the field, take a lot more time off the clock. As far as a prediction goes for this game, I've got Ohio State winning it 34-17. Don't see it being a crazy blowout, blowing them out of the water. Washington has played good football through the first couple of weeks. See them being able to settle in, run the football decently, but not better than 4 yards a carry. That Buckeye defense might be the best in the country. They already are top 3 in points allowed in all the statistical categories that matter, and have an offense that a lot of people are already overlooking, which doesn't make sense when you have the best wide receiver in the country and probably another first-round pick and Carnell Tate. So let me know, 34-17, do the Buckeyes get it done in that fashion? Do you see Washington being able to compete in a tighter matchup? Do you think the Buckeyes win by a wider fashion? Let me know down below in the comments. Want to hear from you. I appreciate you so much for watching. Please make sure to tune in for more content in the future, making NFL, college football content every single day. Can't believe we are already in week 5, a crazy week of the season. Tons of great matchups everywhere. So make sure to stay tuned for all of that. I appreciate you for watching, and I will see you next time. Thank you.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.